Good, excuse me. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast, live here on the Grid Network's YouTube channel and Twitter account. I am Bryson Carver. We're here for episode 5. Arthur Hurst, Tim Barnard are joining me on this lovely Saturday. Arthur, how you doing today, my man?
Doing great, man. It's another Saturday. Hope this weekend doesn't go by too fast, but we all know it does.
That is a fact, especially with all the incredible games we've got. This weekend we'll be talking about that, as well as some of the big headlines from last week. Tim, how are you doing today, my man? I see you're repping your Gators. Big game against A&M this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game today. Though, again, I'm not sure how confident I am, even though we got the win last week. As I've said since day one, that was a fake top 10 win that we got last Saturday.
That's what you said last night on Carving It Up, and especially after last week you had Texas ranked 21st, and it appears that actually might have been somewhat generous based on how the Longhorns performed against your Gators. We'll talk about all those things. We'll give our top 25s. We'll give our cover crew picks. We're going to try and win the audience some money. I will admit, on behalf of all three of us, it's a segment we have not excelled in. But this is the week that we will absolutely crush and get the job done in that regard. Of course, we'll give our game day picks. We'll have Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst, Volview with myself, Bryson Carver, and of course Gator City with Tim Barnard. So we're having a lot of fun today, as we always do here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. I did want to start though with last week. And I'm not going to lie, this is not a topic that I think any of us thought that we would be doing. Is Penn State losing to UCLA of all teams, a UCLA Bruins team that had yet to hold a single lead this season, and yet ends up upsetting a Penn State team that coming into the year had national championship aspirations. I'm going to start with you, Arthur. You're kind of the Big Ten guy here. I asked the question last week, okay, after the loss to Oregon, is it getting warmer? Now you lost to arguably the worst team in your conference on the road, and your defense gave up 40-plus points. Is it on the board that James Franklin could actually get fired after the season?
Okay, so here's the funny thing about that, right? I know we were making jokes, last week after the loss, saying how the chair is on fire. There is no chair to stand on. There is no chair to sit on, right? As true as that is, there's the old saying that two things can be true. So yes, there is no chair for him to sit on.
Oh my gosh, I think we lost Arthur again. It's our weekly tradition here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. I think Arthur is officially frozen.
Wow, bro.
Here we go. We got you back. Okay, that didn't last as long as previous one. So progress.
Yeah. But the question is, who are you going to go get? Like, for real, there is nobody out there on the market, right? It's the same thing with Dabo Swinney at Clemson. If Clemson were to fire him, who are they going to replace Dabo Swinney with? And because you saw after in that press conference, when Dabo Swinney said, fire me, go ahead, I win, fire me. But James Franklin can't do that. Dabo Swinney has 2 chips. He's got 9 ACC titles. James Franklin only has 1 college football playoff appearance, and he doesn't have a Big Ten title. No, yeah, he does. 1 in 2016. That's it. So you can't, try to big ball the university and say, do it. Do it. You can't do that. Yes, it is a conversation. Yes, it is very much a possibility. But after you do that, who is going to be his successor? There's nobody out there. Sorry. Is Urban Meyer going to come back and coach? Is Nick Saban coming back to coach? Are you going to promote Jim Knowles to coach? Like, who is going to be the coaching replacement for the Penn State Nittany Lions if they decide to let go of James Franklin? Nobody. So, yes, we can make jokes about him being fired. We can make jokes about how bad of a job and how bad of a team this looks. They don't have the quarterback. They don't have the defense. All respect to Jim Knowles, it ain't Ohio State defense. They don't have the offense, right? They may not have the talent, but you're not going to let them go because there's nobody that can replace them. It's that simple.
I totally get that point. Before I transition to you, Tim, I got a couple comments from a buddy here, Patrick Brown. He says, happy college football Saturday, fellas. And he says that it's been a rough week for Pennsylvania sports. Nittany Lions, Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers. I have zero empathy. It has been about as bad of a week-long stretch for the city of brotherly love as you could possibly imagine with the Phillies loss and Philadelphia. So, but I'll shift to you, Tim, because I certainly get Arthur's point in the sense that who you going to replace him with, but there's also, man, this guy's defense made Nico Iamaleava look like the guy that I was hoping he'd be at Tennessee. It was unbelievable to watch with his arm, with his legs. Your thoughts on this entire situation, and do you think it's possible James Franklin actually does lose his job after 2025.
So just to respond to Arthur's point, when we were talking about the hot seat, like standing and not being able to sit, that was for Dabo Swinney. I'm pretty sure. But I do agree though that we're in an unprecedented territory when it comes to James Franklin and Penn State, because while we rag on him year after year after year about not winning the big game, not being able to perform, not having his guys ready, at least he won the games that he should have won. As the Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel said at his introductory press conference, you got to take advantage of bad football. And that, to James Franklin's credit, is what he's been doing his entire career. But we knock him for the big game. Excuse me. And so with this, yeah, I think all of a sudden it's real. Okay, had he lost to Oregon in a close game, Penn State laid it all out. Yeah, it sucks, but you can continue on. You still got the rest of the season. You still got Ohio State. And hell, if you beat Ohio State, you can get to the Big Ten championship from there. How is that looking? Because now you have 2 conference losses that you really should have won. And now you're expecting a lot of all these other schools to lose at least 2 games. So, to Arthur's point, yeah, who's going to be your next guy? You could say that about everybody. You could say that about my Gators. Obviously, Oklahoma State, fired Mike Gundy. I mean, hell, let's bring Mike Gundy in his hair all the way to Pennsylvania, like Penn State. That'd be hilarious. But all in all, though, it's one of those situations that, yeah, I think that this whole Penn State thing has gotten a hell of a lot more real than we ever gave it credit for. And shout out to the Bruins for taking advantage.
Oh, no question. It was one of the more shocking upset, victories that we've had this college football season. The young OC at UCLA did a fantastic job. Excuse me.
Shout out to Jerry Neuheisel. I worked with his father and his brother at the Alliance of American Football for the Arizona Hotshots. So when we were out there, so it was that was really cool.
It's cool to see him getting carried out the field. That was a great moment for sure. And UCLA's offense again looked fantastic. Again, I don't know if that's a knock on Penn State or if it's maybe a new coordinator change or maybe a combination of the two. But yeah, I think you could make that case about a lot of coaches. Well, I mean, who's going to be the replacement? Well, it's not like Penn State isn't an attractive job. That's the Penn State Nittany Lions job. It's one of the top programs, in Big Ten history. That's going to be an attractive destination for some of the top coordinators, in college football to potentially go there or previous head coaches. So we'll see how it plays out. Our guy Patrick Brown says James Franklin can't win the big games. To lose in UCLA last week. Fun fact: the Bruins OC was the quarterback when they last upset a top-ranked team. So history in an indirect way kind of repeats itself. So there you go. So Tim, we'll shift to your Gators here after what was. I don't even want to call it that shock of an upset because two of the three of us picked it, to happen. Obviously, you picked it, and I picked it last week against Texas. They ended up winning the football game. And again, I was joking with you yesterday on Carving It Up that, between Nick Saban and, Billy Napier coaching for his job, I'm not entirely sure who's the better coach because Billy Napier coaching for his job is unbelievable. But Florida wins the game. I'm sure you'll touch on some of this on Gator City later. But was this game more about, hey, untapped potential with the Florida Gators or Texas just really overrated?
I think it's both. So starting with Texas, yes, I had them at 21st. Yes, I came on the show last week and realistically and jokingly, but reality, I didn't have them in my top 25 and was trying to figure out the spot. And I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, 21. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, throw them down. Because I didn't have really much respect for what Texas has done this season. And so when watching that game, I was more surprised at Texas' defense than I was necessarily at their offense. The Gators have a top 10 defense in the country. Like, that is a proven fact. So Arch Manning wasn't as bad as he has been all season. So I looked at this game going, okay, Texas needs to show something. And while Arch showed progression, there wasn't much to ride home for because of the fact that Florida was just getting home. Florida was making it awful for Arch Manning to drop back and do anything that he wanted to do, which obviously helped. And that's why I still believe that Texas is overrated. And it almost seemed like Steve Sarkisian wasn't even prepared to some degree. Now, they did miss that big trick play, that big double pass. That was massive in terms of momentum and, not going Texas's way. But the other thing I will say, though, is shifting gears over to the Gators. This is what they do. I mean, you go back to the last time Tennessee came here. Tennessee was undefeated. Tennessee was a top 15 program, I think even a top 10 team at the time. And with Joe Milton at quarterback. And all my buddies, we went to that game. All my buddies were paranoid. They were freaking out that Tennessee was going to roll all over us. And I'm looking at Joe Milton, Tennessee, and I'm like, guys, we can win this game. And sure enough, we did. Now, the untapped potential absolutely showed up for the Gators because DJ looked a little bit more poised, standing back there at quarterback. Dallas Wilson, the true freshman, balled out. He is a dude. He is absolutely a guy you want to hang your hat on. And to have Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown III as your 1-2. Now, we do have Trey Wilson and several other guys who came up big, but for the future, you have two true freshmen and Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson that how can you not be excited? And how can you not sit there as a Florida Gator fan and say, what are we doing? Come on. So, yeah, I think that we finally tapped in to some of our potential, and that's why we came out on top.
I think there's a lot of truth to that in the sense that, this is why we thought Florida could potentially be a college football playoff contender coming into the season. And then, we don't really get that until at least that caliber play till week 6. Arthur, do you think it's more about overrated Longhorns or untapped potential for the Gators?
I'm not going to lie. I hate these conversations when it comes to teams. When it comes to individual players, I get it, right? I get it. If you're a guy in the game and you show off this ridiculous arm, this ridiculous speed, you show off this athleticism, and we look at the coach and we're like, hang on a second, why do you not let him just play like that? Like, why do you not let him just play free and let the offense come to him? I get it when we talk about individual players. When we talk about teams, I hate it because then your lack of accountability for not being prepared comes in. Your lack of accountability for not being disciplined in those moments come in. The game plan not being where it needs to be. That's what I look at. So I don't look at this as untapped potential. I look at this as you are not prepared on Saturdays. You as the coach, your pregame speech isn't on point. You as the players, for some reason, aren't able to go out and execute the game plan that the coaches gave you. Like if you look at their losses between to USF, to LSU, and then you look at this win against Texas, they won time of possession. So they control the game. But USF, you have 11 penalties. LSU, Lagway throws 5 interceptions. And then in this win against Texas, you have 6 sacks. And like Tim said, the defense was able to get home to Arch Manning. So I don't look at this as untapped potential. I look at
Yeah, it's being not prepared.
Two for two. Yeah, no question about it. Like I think a lot of this. Oh, I think we got Arthur back. Here we go. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. But against Miami, you lost time of possession and you ended up losing the game. But the rest of these games, you've been able to control the time of possession, but you're not executing enough to get wins. So this isn't untapped potential. We've seen that you can get wins. You could have beat USF, but you shot yourself in the foot. right? You could have possibly beat LSU, but you can't throw that many interceptions, DJ. You beat Texas. So it shows that y'all can win these games. You just can't have so many errors and shooting yourselves in the foot and not go out there and look like I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm not doing my job, or I'm confused. No, you've got the game plan to win. You show that you can win. So go out there and win. I know it's a lot harder, right? When you go out in these games and you play, I understand it gets hard. It's the same thing in boxing, right? You go out, you do all this preparation, but then in that fight, you get knocked one good time. It's like, oh, snap, I'm a little wobbly. Well, what was the game plan? What am I supposed to be doing? But then that's where you go back in the huddle and you change. You go to that second game plan. If you got a third one, you go to that one, right? Plan A isn't always going to work, but that's why you have a backup plan and a backup plan to the backup plan. So no, Florida is showing that they can win these games. You just have to actually go out and win the game. Yes, the Texas Longhorns, definitely overrated. We thought Arch Manning was going to be more. He's not. We thought Sarkisian and this Longhorn squad was going to be more. They're not. And Florida did a great job taking advantage of the cons of Texas and not letting them get to their pros, not letting them be able to get to what they want to do. Florida took advantage of that. They were able to take advantage of it against USF, but again, they lost. Able to take advantage of it as well against LSU, but again, they lost. So you can win these games. You just got to go actually out and do it.
Yeah, and again, it's not excuse me, guys. It's certainly not a talent issue for the Florida Gators. That's always kind of been the knock on Billy Napier is he able to get the absolute most out of the squad? And kind of as you pointed out, Tim, is Billy's got his guys in now. I mean, we're in year 4. Like he's got his recruiting class, into play here in Gainesville, and whether it's going to pan out this way the rest of the season, whether it's going to be a situation where Florida, hey, maybe they end up finishing 8-4. And they feel good about themselves. They decide to keep Billy Napier. He is, on an extension. So it's the administration would certainly prefer not to have to, fire him at this particular moment in time, especially this early into the deal. So we'll see how it plays itself out. Finally, some news that broke earlier in the week. Bill Belichick and UNC reportedly are already working on a buyout, and we are barely a month into the season. You're the Patriots fan, Tim, so I'll start with you on this one. Was it always inevitable that this was never going to work?
Was it always inevitable? No. I think the writing was on the wall, but I don't know, because myself and a lot of people, a lot of Patriot fans, a lot of probably all of North Carolina fans looked at it like, okay, if we can even squeeze out, half of what Bill Belichick was for those 20 years, then we got ourselves a good team. But the thing about Bill is, now I heard this question posed earlier in the week, and I'm going to save it for, when I finish, but it was with Bill Belichick. He became the exact thing that he told everybody in New England not to do. And we talked about this last night, Bryson. Him being the massive distraction, I think, has turned everything against him. Now, the other thing too with, and again, it's not Jordan she's an evil witch, no two ways about it. Like, it's just everything she's done and touched is turned to dust, basically. But the other thing that's pissed me off about Belichick in his later days in New England was it was a big nepotism club. It was his sons. It was his friends. It was, sons of friends that were part of and running the organization. Again, Elliot Wolf, Matt Groh is a son of Belichick's assistant coach. He's got, obviously Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia's at Ohio State now, but he's got his 2 kids. He's got Mike Lombardi as his GM. He's doing everything that you look at and you're going, why? I mean, I get it. You want to be with people that you know and you love and that make life easier for you. No two ways about it. But you're also setting yourself up in a situation where you're not being challenged because no one wants to challenge you. You know, people aren't looking at you, Bill, going, Bill, no, we got to take this kid, or you got to call this play. You got to do this. No, he's not doing that because he doesn't want that. And that's what pisses me off about this situation. And I don't disagree. The thing that makes me mad is the fact that, again, I grew up a Patriots fan right during the heart of the 20-year dynasty. I'll never stop saying it. I was 9 years old when they won their first title. I watched every second of that game against St. Louis. And so to have this and to see Bill's legacy just get trashed by him. It's not like anybody else is doing it. It's his own doing. And just to add one other thing, to go to show how bad this organization is right now in terms of all the people there and everything that's going on. Number one, the quarterback of Virginia, who's now 4-1, was transferring out of North Texas. He wanted to go to UNC. He was interested in UNC. And Mike Lombardi, the general manager for the Tar Heels, Belichick's longtime friend, told the kid, you're not good enough to play in the NFL, so that's why they don't want you. And yet they still took 70 guys. 70. And you wonder why this team is trash. Secondly, it's the question that I had was what was worse? Belichick's tenure in North Carolina, if he were to get fired within the next couple of weeks, or Urban Meyer's tenure in Jacksonville?
That's a good question.
He kicked the kicker, and he stayed back after a game in Cincinnati at his bar.
Yep. I would say Belichick only because there's been more self-inflicted wounds. It feels like, kind of to your point, like just from the jump with the even little stuff like, hey, we're actually doing a documentary. No, we're not doing a documentary. No, we're doing this documentary with this network. No, we're actually not doing the documentary with this network. Like you said, the girlfriend on the sidelines and the CBS interview and the book, it's all been a disaster. And I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head that he is everything that he has preached against. If you're Tom Brady or you're Julian Edelman or Gronk or some of these guys, like, you got to be kidding me. You got our behinds for years, and now you're doing this. Like, this is the ultimate, hypocritical trip. And
the one other thing too is the report came out. What was it? Wednesday morning, Thursday morning.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Ollie Humphrey or whoever the Twitter account was that was breaking this news. It was probably, let's say, 9, 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. It took until 11:30 at night for Belichick in North Carolina to make a joint statement saying, we're with each other. We're sticking behind one another. Like,
yeah,
that's something that you do immediately, and it's not hard. I mean, you look at the statement that they put out, it's a friggin' sentence. You're telling me it took you almost an entire day to get that done? Like, come on. You know that this is real, and it's going to happen.
You could have put that thing to ChatGPT, put it out, and let that be that. But it's you try and put the fire out as quickly as possible, and that they just have not done that. Arthur, was this Belichick North Carolina thing? Was this always going to fizzle out before it even got a chance to start?
Yes, and I think it's because of what Tim said. He became what he preached against. Not getting a job, right? Not getting another opportunity in the NFL clearly hurt him. So bad to where he was like, I need something to prove I can still do this. And I can do it without number 12. We've talked about this daggone near every single week. We've talked about Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tom's case for GOAT status, Tom's case for it was me keeps going up with every bad thing that happens to Bill. It's just, I hate, it's unfair. I hate that has happened, but it's just the reality of the situation. Dude, you look like it was mostly Tom Brady. You look like you were the defensive mind, not the NFL head coach. You look like you were the defensive mind of the New England Patriots, and Tom Brady did what he needed to do with Rob Gronkowski, with Julian Edelman, with Wes Welker, with Randy Moss, with LeGarrette Blount, with Aaron Hernandez. Whoever was on that Patriots offense, that was because of Tom Brady and him being able to do whatever the hell he wanted to do. He knew the game plan. He knew anything. He knew his personnel. He knew what he needed to do to get the job done. It was not you. Yes, kudos to you for getting in his ass when you needed to, making sure he took accountability. You got the best out of him. But guess what? There's not another Tom Brady walking through that door. And ever since he left, you have not been able to repeat anything. So we also talked about this. We also talked about this on in the season. Ego, right? Your ego has taken a big, big hit. And again, it sucks. Because we look at this guy as the GOAT NFL head coach. Why shouldn't we? He's got all these Super Bowls. He got all these wins. He has this great mind. Why wouldn't we look at Bill Belichick as the NFL greatest head coach of all time? Well, right now, man, you haven't been able to replicate anything that we've seen from the dynasty days. Absolutely nothing. Your talent has been trash. It's been poor draft picks. It's been poor It's been poor talent. What's the word I'm looking for?
Talent evaluation.
Talent evaluation. It's been all bad, and the coaching, it just doesn't look there, right? And again, this looks more like a desperate situation of I need to prove to the NFL I can still do this, instead of I actually want to go to UNC and coach because I love to coach and I want to coach. This looked like now more of a desperate move, and I hate to say that about him. I hate to say it because I got so much respect for him. I got so much love for him. Again, how could you not? This is Bill Belichick we're talking about. But as Tim said, when you become the thing that you preached against for so long, for so many years, at this point, dude, walk away. That would have been the smartest thing to do. Walk away from it all. If the NFL doesn't want you anymore, cool. It doesn't matter. You are the GOAT. Now we're having conversations more and more about, it was more about Tom Brady carrying you than you guys doing the whole thing together. We're having more conversations about you being a distraction, about your young girlfriend, about how this team sucks. Somebody came out and said there's not one NFL pro on this team. We're having more negative conversations about you than positive. Walk away from the game. You gave it everything you had. The game gave you everything it had. So walk away. You're not doing anything but hurting yourself. You're not doing anything but hurting yourself. So just let it go.
Can I ask a question? Would we now again? I'm not trying to, save Belichick's career or his legacy with this question. But Arthur, as you were talking about how he hasn't been able to replicate anything, and I agree, he clearly hasn't since Brady left. But I would argue, what if starting around 21, 22, so like the final days in New England, basically, Belichick was more focused on just being with his buddies, getting people that he wants to coach, versus getting guys that he should and needs to in order to build the talent, that he's kind of just, he's using these opportunities to basically ride off into the sunset on his own terms, and winning be damned. Now, that's not good, obviously, but it's almost like he doesn't want to replicate what he did in New England. He just wants to be with his buddies, be with his, friends and his kids, and, be around players that, maybe aren't as talented, but that want to be coached by him because of his track record, would we look at him differently if that were the case? Would we put as much stain on his legacy if we knew that that was the case?
You want to go first, Bryson, or me?
No, you can take this, Arthur. I guess quickly, my question is, are you saying on, would we look at Bill Belichick differently if he decided to go the route that most coaches do, where it's let's hire the absolute best guys, for the job and have the best talent evaluators as opposed to hiring your friends? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So if he hired the best talent evaluators and the best guys for each of the positions, again,
Okay.
Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as co-offensive coordinators, clearly that was more of a friend move, right, than hiring the best guys. So with that being said, again, if he hired the best guys and still created this hellscape for himself, then I think it's fair to say, yeah, he sucked. His legacy is tarnished. But are we going too far? Because, and again, I'm not saying we're taking the nth degree. Obviously, his legacy is tarnished no matter what. But I'm saying, and I'm not trying to defend him with this question. It just popped in as Arthur was talking. But because we know that it's a big nepotism club for him, and clearly these guys aren't the best guys for the job, are we putting too much on his legacy for that? Because all he wants to do is just be with his family, be with his friends, and just kind of hang out and ride off into the sunset.
Go ahead, Arthur.
I got to answer. If you want to be with your family so much, then just freaking retire.
I agree with that.
If you want to be with your buddy so much, then just retire. Do you not like, bro? It's easy. It's really easy. Just say, I'll walk away.
I agree.
Done.
Well,
bro,
hold on. Is it easy? You won 6 titles in 20 years. Like,
bro, yes. Yeah. I feel like that's a lot easier.
Sickness. It's a hunger to want. Now, again, maybe not for Bill, but it's a sickness and a hunger to want more, to show that you can be the best. But I'm saying that's why clearly Bill hasn't been doing his best since 22, since they hired Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, if not prior to that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, that's easier. This sounds like this is hard. This sounds like it's a job within itself. I have a book coming out. I got to do all these interviews. My girlfriend is right behind me the entire time. Cool. But now that's some more conversation. Now I have a thing of where, UNC saying, oh, she's not allowed. But then now I got to come out and say, no, she is allowed. And then the Patriots come out and say something about players. And I got to come out and say something about Patriots. All of this sounds like there's too many jobs. This sounds like every single thing is a job within itself, and he's not able to actually enjoy life. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, if you want to do all of these things, then just go retire, because you're not going to be in a Jerry Jones situation anytime soon where I'm the owner of the team. I get to make all the decisions. Everything goes through me. I'm king in this freaking castle. Please say something. I would love for you to say something. You're not going to be that anytime soon. You don't have that cachet. You do as a coach, but not as an owner, right? So that's not going to happen. So, dude, just let it go. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like for me, Bill's legacy is not going to be tarnished. For me, Bill's legacy is, dog, you're the NFL GOAT. You're the NFL greatest coach of all time. You had all these wins. You had all these, Super Bowls and stuff like that. Yes, mostly probably because of Tom Brady. I look at this as like side quest missions. I look at this like, dog, again, either this is a side quest mission, or this is, I'm trying to prove to the NFL that I can still do this. He's not able to be doing the latter. So it's got to be the former. This is a side quest mission. I'm trying to enjoy the last few. I still love coaching, but I don't love coaching that much to where I want to be at the top, right? Or I want to do this. Again, he went to North Carolina of all places.
You're actually answering my question by saying the latter half. His legacy is not tarnished, and he's just chilling.
But that's for me, though, because that's for me. But if you're talking about the general public and what they would say, his legacy is done. It was Tom Brady did that. So that's why I'm saying for me. But if I'm talking about the general public and how they see him, dog, your best thing is just go retire. Because as far as everybody's concerned, you are not the coach that we thought you were. It was more because of Tom Brady and the talent that Tom Brady was able to do with that offense and all that stuff. The defense, cool, yeah, because we knew you were a defensive guru. But now everybody's giving a lot more credit as the week goes on to Tom Brady and we do Bill Belichick. It ain't 50-50 anymore. It's like Skip Bayless has been saying for years. It was 75% Tom Brady and it was 25% you. So get your ego out of the way and let Tom Brady have that 75%. But right now from Bill Belichick, again, you're a GOAT to me. So I don't care what happens throughout this. Bro, this is the NFL we're talking about, not college. Yeah, his college legacy is starting. So what? He wasn't a college coach. We're talking about the NFL. We're talking about that Bill Belichick. You're telling me because of what he's doing down here at North Carolina tarnishes that? Bro, the Tom Brady stuff tarnishes that more than this this North Carolina stuff.
I think a lot of this, what it comes down to is there's a direct character tie-in, Tim, with the hires he's made, really, like you said, starting with Matt Patricia, hiring a defensive coach to be the OC, and along with Joe Judge, obviously, which was the kind of the first, like, it's kind of scratch your head, like, what is he thinking here? There's a direct tie-in with that as kind of like this ego trip. I can hire anybody and it'll work, and I can have any quarterback and still have this amount of success. Like that's like I pointed out on my show yesterday. This wasn't the classic, disgruntled athlete forced his way out of the no. Great athlete, all-time legend, who still had plenty of gas to take, was pushed out by his organization, which is almost unprecedented in NFL history. And by the way, without a backup plan. Like it's like New England had this, like, it wasn't like Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, whereas, okay, Aaron's the other run, but we've got a first-round quarterback in Jordan Love. Who New England have? Jarrett Stidham? Like, what?
We settled for no Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But hold on, Bryson. But hold on, Bryson. It goes further than that. You weren't just pushed out by the organization. You were pushed out by the NFL. Think about that. That's what I'm saying.
Brady was pushed out by the organization.
Yeah, we're talking about Brady.
Okay. You're talking about Brady, not Belichick. Okay, I got you. Okay. Cool.
And Tom still had pretty good interest from like Titans, Chargers, obviously Tampa Bay, who he ended up winning a Super Bowl right off the bat with, as you're going 7-9 with Cam Newton, and then it's been a complete. I don't know. I guess my question would be, or not my question, but my statement would be, if Bill was successful post-Tom, it would enhance his legacy. So it's on the other side of that coin, it's got to at least hurt him if, depending on what's happened since. Iron Stars in the comments says he just wants the bag. Maybe that's what it is. He just wants the money.
All the money he's getting? Come on now. Of course he does.
Of course. From North Carolina, from the book, from ESPN last year, and it's been a disaster. All right. Excuse me. Arthur, it is your time now. It is officially time for Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst. Arthur.
What's going on, guys? It is Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst, of course, representing the Ohio State Buckeyes. We are taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini on the road. And it's crazy. I've looked at the Buckeye schedule, and I'm like, man, we haven't had a lot of away games. It's definitely been a lot of home games, definitely been a lot of being in the horseshoe, being around the Buckeye faithful, and you got to love that, right? But it's these type of atmospheres, these type of games I really love from the Buckeyes, because again, it goes to show you what this team is really made of. Is Julian saying really that guy? Well, he proved it against Washington when they were on the road, right? So it's these type of games and these atmospheres that separate, the great from the elite, the great from the good from everybody else, right? So the biggest things that Ohio State is going to have to worry about today is Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier, and also their wide receiver Hank Beatty, who has had a touchdown in every way imaginable this season: passing, rushing, receiving, punt return. He's got 5 passes for a career high 186 yards against Purdue. He's got 569 receiving yards right now in the season. So he's balling, and Luke Altmaier is balling as well. And he's going to have to be able to do that against this defense. That's going to be their biggest thing, right? Matt Patricia and this Buckeyes defense, they're doing a little bit of what Jim Knowles was doing last year. It really irked me, right? Their zones for a defense that has such great players, their zone defense irks me, because somehow these offenses are still able to find the spots to be in, and they either, get able to overthrow the zone or underthrow the zone, be able to get downfield. So right now, Matt Patricia is doing a little bit of what Jim Knowles is doing, is saying, hey, we're going to let you get downfield, right? But you're not going to be able to beat our goal line stands. And I got to give him credit for that. Nobody's been able to convert a rushing touchdown on this defense all season. And their goal line defense has been unimaginable. It's been out of this world great. So I got to give credit where credit is due. But I don't know how much longer that'll be able to suffice. I don't know how much longer that'll be able to happen, because what happens when this defense does get knocked in the mouth? Will they be able to respond? Will the team be able to reel it back in? Will you be able to lock back in on the job that needs to get done? I believe Luke Altmaier and Hank Beatty are going to be working today for whatever they're going to do on offense. I believe this Ohio State defense will be able to lock down the Fighting Illini. They won't be able to do what they love to do, right? And then on the offensive side, Julian Sam, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, they are looking more and more every week like we can't be stopped. We know Jeremiah Smith, that's the best wide receiver in the country. Again, if he were able to go in the draft last year, he's going number one. I believe he would go number one if he were to come out of the draft this year. That's how great of a generational talent he is. Carnell Tate, anywhere else he would be a wide receiver one. Anywhere else. But you have Jeremiah Smith, you got to be the wide receiver too. But then also when you have Jeremiah Smith, you have days that you're able to be the wide receiver one. And that's exactly what happened against Minnesota last week. One of Carnell Tate's multiple touchdowns was when Jeremiah Smith motioned over from right to left. The entire defense followed him. And then you have Carnell Tate on a one-on-one opportunity. He dusted his defender, and he has a touchdown. That's what happens when you have such a dangerous offense. And then not only that, you talk about the running back room with Bo Jackson, with C.J. Donaldson, with James People. Bo Jackson looks like more that he is going to be the premier starting running back for this offense. He's able to get the yards. He's powerful. He's quick. And then C.J. Donaldson is more of that power back. And then James People, he's a little bit of both. He can be your power back, or he can be the running back that gets you downfield. But Julian's saying, I've been saying this for a minute, he's a really good quarterback, but I need Ryan Day to take those training wheels off. You need to let him ball out in the first quarter. You need to let him be able to throw the ball long, medium, short. You got to let Julian Sayin get in the groove, and you can't wait till the second half to let him do it. Because Julian has shown that when you give me control of this offense, I'm poised, I'm disciplined, I can throw this ball, I have the accuracy, I have the precision, I can get the ball to my guys here, doesn't matter, right? He does have moments, though, where he holds it on too long, right? But he's still able to make plays out of it. So the Ohio State Buckeyes need to let Julian Sayin just take the reins from the first possession. You let them do that, we're not going to see, just a dominant second half from the Buckeyes. We're going to see a full game dominance from the Ohio State Buckeye offense. So, yeah, man, the Fighting Illini got their work cut out for them. It's going to be hell to pay at noon, right, for the Ohio State Buckeyes going into the Fighting Illini, stadium and being able to dominate. And I believe that's what it's going to be. Right now, they're a 15-point favorite. I think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be one of those dominant games that we've seen from them all season. They haven't been able to, get punched in the mouth. They've been doing a lot of the punching. And I'm just proud of what I'm seeing from my Ohio State Buckeyes, man. But that is it for the Buckeye Breakfast. We'll be right back with the Saturday Morning Tailgate after this break.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast live here on the Grid Network. Appreciate everybody stopping by on this fantastic, just Loaded college football Saturday from start to finish. We've got some fantastic games. Cannot wait to get to our game picks later in the show. But of course, it's one of my favorite segments on the show. It's time for us all three to reveal our top 25 list. Tim, I will start with you. Go ahead and take it away. Tell me who your top 25 teams are. I think your mic is muted, Tim.
There we go. All right, we're back.
There we go.
Start off with top 25. Of course, got Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Ole Miss, my top 4. Oklahoma, I got rounding off as my number 5 team. Then at number 6, I got A&M off of who, of course, are going to be coming in against a very tough Florida Gator team today. But they got a big-time win at home, 31-9 versus Mississippi State. Of course, Texas Tech remains undefeated with their 35-11 victory over Houston. I got Indiana, Bama after defeating Vanderbilt. I got them now in my top 10. And then to round it off, Missouri, who remains undefeated at 5-0 after their bye. Then going down from 11 to 15, I got Tennessee sneaking in there at number 11. Vanderbilt is taking a drop. I initially had Vanderbilt as my number 10 team. Now I got them at 12. Then I got Georgia at 13 after their 35-14 win versus Kentucky. Georgia Tech was on a bye, so I got them at 14. Iowa State, they had a fall from grace as they lost to Cincinnati 38-30 last week. So I dropped them from 7 to 15. To round off 16 to 20, I got Michigan, of course, and then Notre Dame, both coming off big-time wins. LSU, I still have absolutely no faith in that program. They were on a bye week last week, so I dropped them from 17 to 18. BYU, as we like to joke on this show, the Mormons can play. They're still undefeated with their 38-24 victory over West Virginia. And then Virginia, I have rounding off my top 20. And then as for 21 through 25, it was interesting to look at because I left out Texas, Florida State, and Penn State of this. And I have, obviously, Illinois, Memphis, Arizona State, Cincinnati, and Navy, who remains unbeaten. So you can talk about the 3 schools that I left out, but after last week, I mean, how can I put them in there?
That's fair. I was a little, I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised that Florida State was in the AP top 25 after, back-to-back losses. Now, again, I guess the committee can say, well, you beat Alabama and the 2 losses came to ranked teams. Now, Virginia wasn't ranked when you played them, but I kind of get where the committee's coming from. But, yeah, I was a little bit surprised as you are, Tim. Arthur, let's see your top 25. What do you got here, my man?
So, of course, I got the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 1. They've been dominant all season on all sides of the ball. Oregon, man, listen, after the way they were kicking butt last year, right, throughout the Big Ten, and then going on to get dominated by Ohio State, they've been able to bounce back in a very productive way this season. They got a huge win over Penn State and James Franklin in that wideout, and Dan Lanning looks like he's pumped for today's game. The Miami Hurricanes, Carson Beck, balling out. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and them, balling out. Oklahoma is doing very well in John Mateer's absence, balling out. Texas A&M and College Station, I got them at number 6. Indiana, last year is not looking like a fluke. They are looking like the real deal this season. Alabama, I got to give credit where credit is due. They've really bounced back. I'm happy for, the Crimson Tide family and Kellen DeBoer. Right now, it looks like the hate and everything has died down a little bit, but you still got to produce, right? Just because, you've got these little high that you're on, you got to keep going. You got to produce, because the second you lose another one, everything is going to come right back to you. Texas Tech, I got them at number 9. And Georgia, man, yeah, again, it's aura, right? We talked about Georgia doesn't look like Georgia. They've still been able to dominate. They've still been able to win games. But also in those games that they've won, they still don't look like the Georgia Bulldogs that we've grown them to be. And then, again, Kirby Smart losing Alabama. You can't – how do you have Nick Saban leave and you still can't find a way to lead the Crimson Tide? That makes no sense to me. But I've got the Georgia Bulldogs rounding out my top 10. I got to give respect to Joey Aguilar to the Tennessee Volunteers. I know Diego Pavia is still Bryson's favorite quarterback in all of college football, but Tennessee, man, is still playing well. Georgia Tech, LSU, that fall from grace really needs to be studied. I talked about it last week with Nussmeier and how this quarterback class was supposed to be something, but they've looked like a bunch of nothing. That's very surprising. That's surprised me a lot. The Michigan Wolverines, Bryce Underwood is continuing to grow. Missouri has been on fire. They've caught my eyes and surprised me at this season. It's so funny to hear Nick Saban give them praise and credit and saying they're one of the top SEC teams to watch out. And it's like, dog, are we being serious right now? We're at that stage in our lives where Missouri is a SEC team right now to be looked out for. Notre Dame, the fall from grace has to be studied, but I'm expecting them to improve as the season goes on. The Fighting Illini is continuing to ball out. The Mormons, not the white boys, the Mormons from BYU are continuing to ball out as well. Vanderbilt, a tough loss last week to Alabama. Nevertheless, they're still a really good team. Diego Pavia and the Commodores, I expect them to bounce back. In Virginia, to round out my top 20, again, having the dominant win that they had and being able to just go from there and not let it just be a high. That's what you expect from these teams that start off the season unranked. And then Arizona State, Florida State, Iowa State, USF, and Memphis to round out my top 25. Listen, Bryson, I know you said that you were surprised that Florida State was still in, and I can't hate on them too much, right? Yes, you've had a few disappointing losses on your record, and it's been spooky lately for you. But again, those were against top-ranked teams, and you have that win against Bama that I still hold in high regard, and I believe that this team will bounce back. It's only a matter of when, though. You know what I'm saying? So, but I believe this team is still good enough to where they're going to be able to bounce back and get back to where they look like against Alabama. Arizona State, Iowa State has been spooky. USF, I mean, you had that Florida win, right? But you're still at the bottom tier. And then Memphis, I have Memphis able to sneak in and round out my top 25. And that is my top 25 for week 7 of this college football season.
I'll tell you what, the USF and Memphis kind of race to the finish line to see who will be that, that 12 seed in the college football playoffs. It's going to be really, really fun to watch. USF got a, dominant win last night. I've been a proponent of Memphis all season long, so you'll obviously see where I have them on my top 25. We can go ahead, excuse me, and pull this up here. I've got the Buckeyes, number 1. Again, defending national champions have taken care of business. Big game today against Illinois. Oregon at the number 2 spot, Miami at number 3. Those have been the top other 2 best teams in the country. Oklahoma, big game. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little, under the weather here with this cough. But Oklahoma, Red River rivalry today against, Texas. Can they get the job done, without John Mateer, who I believe is still injured? Ole Miss has run the football really effectively. Big win a couple weeks ago against LSU. Alabama, Arthur, I'll bring you in just quickly on this question. Is the aura, is it back for Alabama? Is it at least returning for Alabama?
Man, that won't be back till Nick Saban takes the head coaching job back.
Okay, fair enough. But Bama is playing good football. Ty Simpson quietly might be. It's a touch too early. There's a reason on this show we haven't been doing Heisman talk because we're a month into the season. A lot of football left to be played. I think Ty Simpson's a name you have to at least bring up because he's played excellent football this season. Texas A&M, again, dominant win last week against Mississippi State. That was actually my cover crew game. I thought Mississippi State would cover plus. I think it was 60.5. Texas A&M at home at College Station took care of business. Indiana's played great football. I think they're a better team this year than they were a year ago. I think they're a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. Georgia at number 9, again, the loss to Alabama, but bouncing back against Kentucky was impressive. And yes, I have my Vols, baby, in the top 10. I need to see a little bit more for the defense. I'll touch on this in the Vol view in a couple of minutes, but Joey Aguilar's been sensational. This offense is well-rounded, great O-line. Getting David Sanders back at right tackle has kind of changed everything. And Chris Brazzell, I know Arthur Hurst has talked about Jeremiah Smith being the best receiver of the country, and I don't disagree. But let's at least bring up Chris Brazzell, who's been absolutely sensational as a true number 1 receiver in the SEC. And his draft stock just goes up by the day for 2026. That's my top 10. Number 11, Texas Tech, undefeated, playing excellent football. LSU at 12. Again, how can they be able to get this offense rolling even from the start of the season? And that Clemson win obviously doesn't look as good as we thought it would after week 1. How can LSU be able to, get that offense rolling with Garrett Nussmeier, who is believed to be a first-round talent at quarterback? Need to see a little bit more from this wide receiving core. Missouri's undefeated. They played great football. Big test today against the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll see if they can get it done. Georgia Tech, listen, I don't know how many. I don't know if they're going to end up getting their quarterback hurt this season. I feel bad for the poor kid because he's running the ball so much, but they're playing good football. Big win, big wins in the ACC. Illinois at 15. Again, the embarrassing loss to Indiana, 63-10 was brutal, but I still think this is a good team. Arthur kind of brought it up with Luke Altmaier. I think he's a really talented quarterback in the Big Ten. So Ohio State will certainly have a test on their hands. We'll see how it plays out today. Michigan at 16. Can Bryce Underwood continue to develop, continue to be that guy that the Wolverines hope can put them in Big Ten contention? Notre Dame, again, we've said it all year. If Notre Dame can just continue to if they can find a way to run the table, they probably get into the college football playoff for the simple fact that, well, they were the national championship runner-ups. We obviously know Marcus Freeman is an excellent head coach. We'll see how they are able to get the job done. BYU at the at number 18 spot, undefeated. Yes, indeed. I'll make it 3 for 3. The Mormons can indeed play football. And Virginia at number 19, big-time win last week. I thought they would lose to Louisville, and boy, they came close. Double overtime game. Kind of came down the wire, but being able to come off of an emotionally kind of taxing game against the Florida State Seminoles, getting the job done. Big win for Virginia against Louisville last week. Listen, I'll still give Vanderbilt respect for, putting them in the top 20. I would be lying if I wasn't, and this is going to sound sacrilegious as a Vols fan, if I wasn't saying Roll Tide just a little bit last Saturday, pulling for the Alabama Crimson Tide to knock
the break stick, Bryson.
Diego Pavia's been talking a lot of smack for a guy who's the quarterback at Vanderbilt. Let's just keep it real, Sam. It's been insufferable to watch. And as I say every single week on the show when I talk about Vanderbilt, I cannot wait for November 30th because he's got some coming to him at Neyland Stadium from that defense from Josh Heupel and Tim Banks. And then finally, to round out my top 25, Iowa State at 21, tough loss, obviously, to Cincinnati. You see, I got Cincinnati at 25. I was actually a little surprised they didn't make the rankings. Memphis at 22. I keep saying it. Memphis is going to be the 12 seed in the college football playoff. They've got a great offense that they've been able to beat Power 4 conference teams this year. Arizona State at 23. Big game tonight against Utah, who is favored. That's one of the games that we will pick. I really like Sam Levitt. I think he's a talented quarterback. And USF, who's just coming off a big-time win last night in that 24 spot. Cincinnati at 25. So that rounds out my top 25. And with that, it is now officially time for the Vol View with yours truly, Bryson Carver. So here's the thing. Tennessee's coming off of a bye week after an emotionally taxing win against Mississippi State, to say the very least. Very stressful, down to the wire, overtime W, 41-34 against the Bulldogs. Now Tennessee has a prime opportunity for sweet, sweet revenge. And as the old saying goes, it is a dish best served cold. Now, how can Tennessee do that? Well, Sam Pittman, head coach of Arkansas, was fired. He is replaced by none other than Bobby Petrino, who himself has said this atmosphere in Neyland Stadium this afternoon is going to be crazy, and there's really no way to prepare for it. So for Tennessee's offense, we know obviously about Joey Aguilar. Arthur talked about him, throughout the last segment. Joey Aguilar, aside from the 2 picks a couple weeks ago, neither of which were his fault. They both went off the tight end, Miles Kitselman's hands. But again, Joey Aguilar with the deep ball, the big concern for him was, he's a little bit mistake prone at Appalachian State. That really hasn't been an issue at Tennessee. He's been relatively smart with the football. He's made good decisions. He's used his legs very, very effectively. And the wide receiving core trio, we could talk about Mike Matthews. We could talk about Braylon Staley and the contributions they brought to the table. But I said it during the top 25, and I'll say it right now. This kid, Chris Brazzell, put him in the discussion for the Biletnikoff Award this season. He is absolutely in the discussion as one of the top wide receivers in college football this year. 6'5", crazy speed, great route running ability. Catch radius is off the charts. He made a huge 4th down reception against Mississippi State 2 weeks ago. He's going to have to obviously make some big-time plays here against Arkansas. But the revenge aspect for Tennessee against the Razorbacks. Last year, Tennessee is riding high. They're the 4th-ranked team in the country. And they go into Fayetteville, lose the Arkansas Razorbacks on a touchdown late. And it didn't affect Tennessee's playoff chances because they still ended up getting in as the 9 seed before Arthur's Buckeyes absolutely just hand it to my Vols at the Horseshoe. But this is kind of a classic. Oh, man, if we had just beaten Arkansas, we'd have been in the SEC championship game. We had an opportunity to play for Tennessee's first SEC title in 2 decades. Alas, it was not in the cards for the Vols. Obviously, you've already got the loss to Georgia. You had a loss to Georgia last year. It is what it is. Kirby Smart, great program. You came closer than you ever have in this 9-game losing streak to beating the Dogs. Getting the job done against Arkansas. I know the offense is going to show up. I want to see a little bit more from this defense, from the secondary, which has dealt with some injuries. Again, obviously, Ricky Gibson III's been out. Jamal McCoy's been out. Colton Hood has stepped up. Obviously, Joshua Joseph's getting to the quarterback. Talander at linebacker. Arian Carter. I want to see these guys be able to step up. I want to see Tennessee play a start-to-finish, a complete football game in the SEC. Let's get our first SEC win on this young season, and let's get the W against Arkansas. Let's get revenge on what was a tough loss last year to the Razorbacks. That's it for this week's edition of the Vol View. We'll be back in just 1 minute with the cover crew picks, as well as Gator City with Tim Barnard. Come back in just 1 minute here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast live on the Grid Network. Thanks to everybody for stopping by. As I've said it over and over on the show, a start to finish, noon to bedtime type great day for college football action. Let's get to our cover crew picks, folks. We're here to try and win you guys money. I'll go and start here with Tim's pick. Who do you got in this game, Tim?
I got Iowa State. The fact that, yes, they came off a tough loss last week. The spread versus Colorado is 2.5. That's easy money. They're clearly one of the top teams right now, so I have them in my top 25 going against Colorado, who really just can't seem to get anything going for them. So to be minus 2.5, give me Iowa State all day long. Easy money.
That was almost my cover crew pick. I decided to go in a different direction than that. I will say quickly, and I'm sure the two of you guys would echo this, but prayers for Deion Sanders. Hopefully, he's been going through a lot of obviously health troubles lately. Wishing all the best to Coach Prime in that regard. But I think that's a solid pick for sure, Tim. What about you, Arthur? What are you going? I can see just a tiny bit of bias here. That says Ohio State minus 2.5. That should say 15.5. I apologize.
There's plenty of just logic in this. Honestly, I get it. It's on the road. Right, and I talked about it. We haven't played a lot of games on the road. There's been a lot of games played in front of the Buckeye faithful, and I like that. It gives Julian saying confidence and it really gets him going as the season goes on. But it's these games where it's like, dude, if you are that dude, especially as a starting quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you have Jeremiah Smith, and you have Carnell Tate, and you have this dominant running back room, and you have this dominant defense, you are going to have to step up when it's on the road. He did that against Washington, and I expect him to do that today against the Fighting Illini. So, no, it is not biased. It is going to be a complete ass whooping and domination, especially when the second half comes around. Because, again, that's when the Ohio State offense really wakes up and they let Julian Sayin do his thing. The first half, they're like, all right, let's see, okay, you didn't make any mistakes. Look at here. And then Julian Sayin takes that information and then dominates in the second half. So, it's going to be 15.5.
Okay, 15.5 on the road against a ranked, Big Ten opponent. We'll see how it plays out. I almost feel guilty for calling you biased, Arthur, because I've also got my Vols, baby. Minus 9.5. I'm loving this pick. Listen, revenge factor off a bye against Arkansas. They just fired their head coach. Nealon is going to be absolutely rocking. Let's get our first home win in the SEC. Again, like I said, Arthur, I apologize, buddy. That was probably unfair on my part, especially given the fact that I took my team in the spot. That was not fair of me, man. It wasn't. But either way, let's go and get started. It is now officially time for Gator City, hosted by Tim Barnard. Tim, go and take it away, and hopefully there's no technical difficulties this week, buddy.
We get the white screen popping up here. Yep. Oh my gosh. Come on. It's white.
Hang on.
There we go. Hey, look at there it is. Let's go. All right. Welcome to Gator City. So this week is going to be a big one. Pretty much every week from here on out, it's going to be a big one for the Gators. There's no two ways about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not trying to take away credit from the Gators by saying that the win versus Texas is a fake top 10 win. Because when you look at Texas, you look at what they've done this year, you look at how Arch Manning has played this year, how can you sit there and tell me that Texas should have been the 9th-ranked team in the country? The only reason why they were the 9th-ranked team in the country is because of this. And what we did was this. So, again, it's what Florida was able to do last Saturday was fantastic. I mean, the fact that Billy Napier finally trusted Jaden Baugh, which is insane. I don't think it's not that he didn't trust him, but when you go and Jaden Baugh, clearly the best running back in the country, has 10 carries versus LSU for 4.6 yards, or 4.6, for 46 yards, averaging 4.6 yards in that game. He has 18 carries for 93 yards versus USF. And then last week versus Texas, he got 27 carries for 107 yards, averaging 4 yards per carry. That's what we need to be successful. DJ Lagway, you cannot have him throw 30, 40, 50 times a game. He is not there yet. And Jaden Baugh on the season has averaged 5.2 yards per carry on 396 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those two, the final two numbers I just said, should be much higher. But Baugh has never gotten the necessary carries. So that's something that we need to fix going into this game. Now, Billy Napier, meanwhile, we all know he's on the hot seat. We all know that what's about to happen might not be good for him. But when you're looking at his stats, he's 7-3 as a home underdog. Okay? But he's 1-10 as a road underdog and 4-11 overall on the road. He's 0-13 versus ranked teams on the road, including neutral site game versus Georgia, where he has lost 3 straight games, and he's 0-1, of course, versus Oregon State when we lost in the Vegas Bowl a couple of years ago. Talking about preparedness, this team needs to be prepared. And I think they can be, but you're going into one of the top college atmospheres. You're going into one of the top college atmospheres in the country at College Stadium. Or College Station, excuse me. I don't know why I said College Station. That's stupid. So College Station is everybody at A&M. While they do have really stupid cheers and what the hell is an Aggie, they're a very good team. Marcel Reed on the season has thrown for over 1,250 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Their defense is 6th in the country with 18 sacks. And Cassius Howell leads the team with 7 of those sacks and 8 tackles for loss. This defense is going to come after you. We can't be sitting here dilly-dallying, trying to let guys just go deep and try to get open deep. We need to get Baugh going. As long as Jaden Baugh can get going, then they're going to be forced to, commit to the run game, which hopefully can then open up our play-action game. And DJ Lagway, all he has to do is take what's available to him. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to fit it in tight holes just because that's your number one read. All right? If you got a guy running a drag, going out into the flat, maybe even a swing pass. If you don't have anything going on and you know that A&M is about to come home, dump it off. Get rid of it. Be smart with the football. He wasn't smart against LSU. He was trying to fit into tight coverage. And you know what? Even against Texas, there were a few moments where he tried to fit into tight coverage there as well. This team, absolutely, if there is any hope any hope for this season, we need to come out on top tonight. Now, everyone wants to say that we can lose this game, but then we have to really win out again. And that could very well possibly happen. Right now, Florida is actually sitting in a prime position for an SEC championship berth at 1-1. I know, crazy. It feels like, we're done in terms of the college football playoffs, but it's not out of the realm of possibility if this team can go and perform and get these victories. Going into College Station, making sure that you finish with touchdowns and not field goals, making sure that Texas A&M, who has been known to play down to their competition, understands who they're playing and realizes it too late, then you can go and get the much-needed victory and much-needed upset. And if they beat Texas A&M, no matter how A&M plays, I will guarantee you I will come back here next week and promise that would not be a fake top 10 win. So with that being said, that is all for Gator City. Chomp, chomp. Let's go. Right over left. And all kinds of weather, we stick together. That's how it goes here down in Florida. So stay tuned. We're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we are going to make our final picks for this week's slate of games. So stick around for our game day picks.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast live on the Grid Network. It is now time for all of our favorite segment on the show. We are making our game day picks for week 7. Let's go and get started right off the bat with the Florida State Seminoles taking on the Pitt Panthers. Tim, who do you got in this ACC matchup?
I got a surprising pick. Florida State.
You know what? Surprising for you, given your disdain for the Noles, to put it mildly. Arthur, do you agree here? We got a 2 for 2 in this situation.
Florida State.
Okay. I've also got Florida State in this spot. Clean sweep across the board. Listen, they need a bounce back win after 2 straight losses in the ACC. So, yes, I've also got the Noles in the spot. Now we got a matchup. Iowa State taking on Colorado. Tim, this was your cover crew game, so I imagine you obviously got Iowa State.
Yeah, absolutely. Iowa State, they're coming off a tough loss last week against Cincinnati. So, yeah, give me the Cyclones.
Arthur?
Iowa State. Colorado's QB room just looks terrible, week by week. And, with Coach Deion Sanders' health and everything, this team just doesn't look anything like it should have been this year. Hopefully next year they bounce back. That's where I'm at with it. I'm already looking forward towards next year.
100%. And I'm kind of with Tim. Like, I'm shocked that the line was only 2.5. Again, I know that they lost to Cincinnati last week, but Iowa State's an excellent football team. They should get the W here. All right, let's get a clean sweep here. Tennessee Vols at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Everyone in America knows who I'm picking, but Tim, who are you picking? Come on, you want to pick Tennessee. You do.
Give me Arkansas. No, I'm kidding. Give me the Vols. I took the Vols.
I was about to say, all right, you about got on my bad side there, Timmy. You about did it. Arthur, come on. Here we go. 2 for 2.
Tennessee Volunteers, man. I'll take the Tennessee Volunteers.
I know you love Joey Aguilar, and so do I. Clean sweep, baby. This is a classic cover crew game. Tennessee minus 9.5. They get the W right here. Next game. Arizona State, Utah. Listen, this is a potential upset game. Utah is almost a double-digit favorite at home. They were obviously a top 25 team pretty recently. Tim, who do you got in this big-time Big 12 matchup?
You know, this is a game that had probably the hardest decision to make. Kyle Whittingham at Utah has been unreal as a head coach. Like, he's really kept that program going. Yeah, they might not have been competing, for national championships at certain points, but they're always there. They're always a tough team. And with that being said, I took Arizona State.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, listen, Arizona State this season has been playing very well. Yeah, they lost to Mississippi State, but Mississippi State can show signs of life every now and then, as they did against your Vols. So Either way, I like Arizona State in this game.
It's a frisky bunch, no question about it. What about you, Arthur?
I have to go with Arizona State as well. I really wanted to pick Utah, but I feel like Arizona State's just been playing better football this year.
I agree. I really like Sam Leavitt, the quarterback of Arizona State. I think he's really taken a big jump from last year to this year. So I've also got Arizona State in this spot.
I will say this too. When I was with the Arizona Hotshots of the AAF in 19, we played at Sun Devil Stadium, and we also went to Utah to play the Salt Lake City team. Unbelievable stadium in Salt Lake. It is gorgeous.
It's a beautiful part of the country. There's no question about it. All right, Florida Gators, Texas A&M Aggies. Tim, you going to go all in?
I'm going all in, baby. Ride or die. Give me the Gators.
I respect it. What about you, Arthur?
I would respect the Gators and go ride or die with Timmy because that's my guy. But, dude, I don't know what Florida Gators team I'm going to get. It's either going to be untapped potential like we did last week, or it's going to be same old, same old. So I'm going to have to go with Texas A&M.
Listen, Aggies at College Station. To your point, Tim, I really – what is an Aggie? Like, we need to get a dictionary definition of what the heck that is.
Yeah.
It's weird. But, yeah, at home, it's one of the most difficult atmospheres in college football. I've definitely got the Aggies in this spot. Next matchup, Georgia Bulldogs, Auburn Tigers. Who do you got in this matchup, Tim?
Again, talking about two teams. Actually, my grandfather was a big Auburn fan. Why? I don't know. But that's my father told me that. Auburn, if I had to pick another SEC team, it would be Auburn. That would be the team I'd root for. Of course, Gators, number one, always, forever. As much as I wanted to go with Auburn and go with the upset, I stuck with Georgia.
Look at Tim. We're 3 for 3 on picking his most hated rivals. We got Florida State, Tennessee, Georgia. This will all be a great Saturday if Florida can pull the upset. It'll be all worth it, right? Like the college football might be smiling upon Tim Barner tonight. Let's just put it that way. Arthur, who do you got in this game?
Georgia. This ain't gonna be close. It better not be close. Shit. Better not be. Are you kidding me, dog?
Auburn's not bad.
When was the last time Auburn was relevant? Like, honest question. When was the last time they were relevant?
I mean, we'll probably have to go back to Malzahn. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, like, dude, if they don't What'd you say, Tim?
I said, has it been that long? I mean, I feel like they had
I feel like there was a quarterback. There was a quarterback not right after Cam, but a few years that came after Cam, and like what I want to say, like 2019, 2020.
Bo Nix was there. Bo Nix was there at that time, and then he went to Oregon. Yeah,
Bo Nix was there.
Bo Nix sucked at Auburn.
He wasn't the best.
Then it all, Oregon and the Denver Broncos, he's been pretty darn productive. So it's pretty unbelievable. Yeah, I've also got the Georgia Bulldogs in this spot. I do think closer game than people think. Again, there's certain stadiums, man, and Auburn's a prime example of this. Weird stuff happens for whatever reason. In Auburn, weird stuff happens. So could I see an upset? Maybe. You guys have kind of pointed out the fact that this Georgia team doesn't look like previous Georgia teams. We'll see how it plays out, but I've got the Dogs in this matchup.
2017, 10-4 Peach Bowl appearance for Auburn under Gus Malzahn, like you said.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a while since they were, truly one of the more relevant teams in college football. Here's a game I'm really looking forward to. Big Ten matchup, Michigan, USC. Michigan got a crazy, a big-time win against the Trojans last year. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I took Michigan with this. I've been pumping up USC's ties for the last couple of weeks, but I don't know. After the whole Oklahoma fiasco with Bryce Underwood and Michigan, I feel like they've kind of gotten their act together. and have just putting together excellent games recently. So, yeah, I'm taking the Wolverines, man. Give me Brady.
There you go. Exactly. Are we going to continue the trend of picking rivals, Arthur? Are you picking Michigan?
Yeah, bro, I'm Michigan all day until they gotta play us. I don't give a damn. Are you for real? I'm not that tripped up. The only time I don't give a daggone about the university is the last week of the college football season when they play my Buckeyes. But nah, for sure, Michigan.
Man, rivalry week on the show is going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait. I've got, excuse me, I've got the Trojan in this spot. Listen, it's a revenge game at home. I really like Maiyava, the quarterback for USC. I think he's really, really talented. They almost pulled off the W recently against Illinois. It's a big game at home in the Coliseum. I've got the Trojans coming out with the W. A good SEC matchup. You got South Carolina Gamecocks on the road in Death Valley to take on LSU. Tim, who do you got in this one?
Give me the Gamecocks. Give me Lenore Sellers. Okay. Give me that. Huh? Huh?
What? Go ahead.
Give me that fraud Brian Kelly and that LSU team. I am so out with them. I just want them, and not because they beat us, but because come on, they're a bunch of frauds over there. Like, give me Lenore Sellers under the lights. Let's go. Come on.
What about you, Arthur?
LSU. I understand. Yes, they may look fraudulent.
You said he picked. You said he picked South Carolina.
I did.
You did.
Oh, I did say I did need an upset in this pick. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Give me South Carolina, not whatever Tim said. Give me South Carolina.
What, Arthur? What's their mascot? What's South Carolina's mascot?
I really don't know. I wish I did.
Freaking love this show.
But the roosters, the hens,
yeah,
something rhymes with that, right?
It doesn't rhyme with them. It's the same, same type of for sure.
To
it looks to it. It's in that same ballpark.
Who the hell came up with that?
That's a great question. I've always, especially
the question.
The short for that, the 5-letter word of like, I don't know that he could have come up with a lot better names than that. People have ripped Vols for a while, but there's a historical significance to that name.
And I'll say this, to South Carolina's credit, they have no shame, seeing as they love they dropped the game when they start chanting. They dropped the game out of
that.
You know how drunk I gotta be to do that here. No, I'm for real. I gotta be.
You're in South Carolina. God. What do you expect?
That's very true. Listen, it's crazy down there. I'm gonna go. Excuse me. I'm gonna go with LSU. I think their offense bounces back in this spot. As much as I would love South Carolina to get the W because I'm as big of a Lenore Sellers fan as everybody here. I think LSU, they need a W. They get the W here at home. If it was in William Bryce Stadium, I'd go with South Carolina. But Baton Rouge is a tough place to go win. I've got the LSU Tigers in the spot. All right, Ohio State on the road against Illinois. Tim, who do you got in this one?
Ohio State.
Oh, okay. No, just complete dismissal of the Fighting Illini, huh?
Fighting Illini, Indiana, all the other Big Ten. There's only 3 Big Ten schools, and it's Ohio State, Michigan, and previously Penn State before last week, of course.
About to say who? I don't know what school you're referring to right now. This has been pretty bad. Arthur,
Oregon's a Pac-12 team. They're not a Big Ten team. Damn it!
The Pac-12 team got the job done. So who is the better conference? Right. I don't know. That's the question. Do I even need to ask, Arthur?
Ask what? What's the question here?
You know what the question is.
I didn't know what was the question.
Buckeyes.
I didn't know what you were asking.
Buckeyes or Illinois Fighting Illini, Arthur? Okay. I've also got Ohio State in this spot. 3 for 3 here. They get the W on the road. I will say, I like Illinois plus 15.5. I'll say that. I think Luke Altmaier is going to make it kind of close. I think it's kind of close. But the Buckeyes get the W in this spot. All right, big SEC matchup. Alabama Crimson Tide, Missouri Tigers. Timmy, who you got here?
I got Bama. I think they're starting to feel themselves right now. And listen, Missouri can come off with a big win today, but I don't see it happening.
Arthur?
Alabama as well. Again, I never thought I'd be in a place where we're talking about how good of a team, SEC team, too, Missouri is, especially to hear that from Nick Saban. I'm still baffled by that. I might have to go unclog my ears and listen to that Pat McAfee clip again. Because, dude, the fact that they were talking about the SEC and Big Ten, and that was a team that was brought up, Missouri, are you freaking kidding me?
Well,
Time to change.
don't forget the first 2 years Missouri was in the SEC. They went to the SEC championship back to back their first 2 years. So
Sure did. Lost to, I know, was it Bama and Auburn, I think is who they lost to?
Yeah.
I know the 1 year they lost to Auburn when Auburn had that kind of magical run in 2013. But yeah, Missouri's been relatively successful in the SEC to be as new as they are. I've also got the Tide in this spot. Again, I said coming into the season, Ty Simpson was one of my dark horse Heisman candidates, and I think he's right now living up to that. He's playing good football. Bama's receiving corps is one of the better ones in the country. I've got the Crimson Tide winning this game. Big matchup in the Big Ten. You got the Oregon Ducks. You got the Indiana Hoosiers. Who do you have here, Tim?
Oregon.
Okay. Dominant fashion?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Arthur?
Oregon. I think this is Indiana has been playing outstanding football, but I believe this is going to be one of those dominant wins that Dan Lanning really wants underneath his belt. So I think it's going to be Oregon.
Dan Lanning's ready to go. I think this is a big-time statement opportunity, second statement opportunity for Oregon, so I've also got the Ducks in the spot. And finally, one of the best rivalries in college football, the Red River Showdown. Who do you got here, Tim? Oklahoma or Texas?
Oklahoma. Texas is a bunch of frauds. Again, another team, another SEC fake team. So, yeah, give me Oklahoma. I wish John Mattia was playing, but the way Oklahoma's looked, I mean, if they can continue to look like that and Texas plays the way they have, this shouldn't even be a question. Oklahoma.
Blowout, even with the familiarity. You got blowout?
But, I think it's going to be close, but Oklahoma's going to pull away at the end.
All right. What about you, Arthur?
Arch Manning could have Genie from Aladdin wishing, and he still wouldn't win this game.
Hold on. Which Genie? Are we talking Robin Williams or Will Smith?
Both. I actually enjoyed the Will Smith one. I'm not even going to lie. I enjoyed
Will Smith. Robin Williams to go. Robin Williams to go. Everybody knows that.
Robin Williams.
For sure. Man, but listen, Arch Manning could have Genie. He could have Tinkerbell. He could have a wishing bone, a horse. It don't matter. He's still not winning this damn game. And again, like you said, it's without John Mateer. But Oklahoma is still kicking butt without John Mateer. So I'm picking John Mateer.
I'm
John Mateer, Oklahoma Sooners.
I'm rolling with the Sooners as well in the spot. Listen, I think they're a legit national championship contender. So yeah, I've definitely got Oklahoma in the spot. All right, that is all the time we have for today. This day on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Thanks to everybody stopping by. We'll be back next week. Excuse me, my voice is just dying here at the end. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, live here on the Grid Network. Shout out to Arthur, to Tim. I'm Bryson Carver. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Enjoy your college football Saturday. Peace out.
God bless.